And we're live. That's it. Hey, what's up, guys? Dave here with the PDR workshop. Once again with another live show for you. We're here with Chris, as always, from Dentless Touch, and my mic just fell. I just want to really quick thank our sponsors, DentKraft Tools, Blem, and Mobile Tech RX for sponsoring the show, allowing this to happen. I was going to do the intro today, and because Chris had the opportunity this last weekend to check out the Stanliner training in Minnesota. So I was going to go ahead and give a little intro. And I, of course, like I told you guys last week, don't have any tools. I'm in this middle of this transition trying to get out to Chris so we can work on a couple of things that we've been, have going on. Chris, do you have any tools? I'm sure you got one. I hope you have one.
I was lucky enough to walk away with a Stanliner tool with all the Stanliner fans that went to the seminar. But anyway, I went there to get this tool, so I got exactly what I wanted, and this is what they call the killer whale tail. They have a lot of different versions of this tool. They have one with a different radius to kind of give you a little bit more bend. They actually have one that actually tapers off. So this area right here, just to show you guys, this area right here is actually tapered, kind of the edge right here. And so it comes completely smooth. So I thought, sorry. I thought that this was, sorry. I thought that this was, this is what I've always wanted. When I work on a lot of cars, it's either the, what they call it, the pirate hook, or it's this right here, the killer whale tail. And so I like the fact that it's flat. I think he kind of like shaved each end. And so I don't know. I just think it's unique. Now, this is a stock item. You can get this item on their website. He just told me that there are copies. So you make sure you just have this hologram effect right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that makes it official. So, but yeah, that's the only tool I kind of walk away with. I will purchase more, but that's it.
And there's a special movement with this type of tool here, this tool specifically. There is a special movement that I think Stanliner does train their techs on and actually how to use these tools properly. I think we'll kind of get into that a little bit later, but there is a special movement with this tool, correct? On how to use it?
Yeah, I am definitely not as proficient as some. I think S is in the chat. He could talk a little bit about it, but there were some techniques that he went over during the training, and I've already been trying to figure out this rolling technique, and this tool actually will aid in that. And actually, I think it makes it a little easier than the pirate hook. I've been doing it on the pirate hook, but not, I really wanted the killer whale to start doing this. I'm also looking forward to actually using this tool as, doing some dragging action, because he's saying that you can just move a lot of metal dragging. I couldn't quite test that out in the training. There was probably opportunity for anybody to test anything out. I was just trying to take some pictures and give a little bit of social presence to the entire event. So
nice.
But yeah, nice. It was that dragging and rock rolling, I guess they call it.
Yes, I knew there's some special techniques, especially with that type of tool there. I know that doesn't look like your average PDR tool that you would normally work with. So
no, not at all.
It's got that wide head there. It's got a nice real curve. I mean, trying to fit in that to certain places on a vehicle definitely, may seem difficult. But I think if you're able to get that tool into this, spot that you're working on, it's probably going to be super beneficial.
Yeah, so ideally I want to work on a fender because I'm still getting the movement. So I honestly don't want to take apart the door to try to, maybe guess how this is going to react to that repair. But if I have a long shoot,
you want to perfect the technique.
What'd you say?
I said you want to try to perfect the technique first.
Right, exactly. And so, fenders, fender liners, open areas, definitely going to be using this tool. I take a lot of doors apart, so a window out is like nothing to me. Another 15, 20 minutes to have the window out of the car. And then now I can actually, put this down there and do the same rolling effect on the crease. So,
Nice. Just a
I,
quick little pickup from the weekend.
that's what it is. I went there to buy a lot of tools. And I'm hoping there were some one-off tools. He only had, I guess maybe 5 or 6 of them, of the little small stuff. It was some very unique tools, and I didn't get a chance. He was raffling them off. Not really raffling, but there were so many people. It was so high demand, and he could only fit but so much in his luggage to bring to us. And he had to have tools for us to work on, which every station, I believe, had, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 tools on it. There's a lot of tools that he had to bring for a training seminar.
So let's so for those guys just jumping in now, let's kind of preface this whole thing here. So Chris went to the Stanliner training in Minnesota. It was held at DentKraft by Don Kavanagh with DentKraft in Minnesota. And I don't know the actual town, but and I know I saw from the couple of photos on social media, stuff like that, that it was a really, really good turnout. But if you could just kind of explain what you actually signed up for. So what did they tell you was going to be entailed into the whole training? And then I know that there was actually kind of a part 2 with the EV training that you partook in as well. How to properly power down hybrid vehicles, electric vehicles, and stuff like that. So what did you sign up for? What did you go out to Minnesota for? How did that whole thing come about?
So the unique thing about his tools is, he always stresses the fact that you need to know how to use them. It's one thing selling you a tool, but if you would go to MTE and buy this, you wouldn't know how to use it. I mean, you'll probably just push it like a normal tool. But that's not how this is not why this tool was designed. There's no reason why there's a lot of curvature and the way the bend is.
So this training was specifically on how to use these tools in the proper way.
The proper way, yes. And that's what I went to training for. And it all started, I did a crease. It was it's actually a video, it's a Subaru. And I spent 2 hours just like, I am going to take this crease out with this pire hook, or I'm gonna be here all day. It is what it is. So I kind of forced myself to learn the pire hook movement. Now, I would have loved to have this killer whale tail at that time, but it is what it is. And I just kind of got the movement of the rolling action. It took about an hour, and I did it also on that Audi, that my most recent video. That he had 2 or 3, I think 2 4-inch or 5-inch creases towards the back of the fender. You kind of see a little snippet of it, but it was all like pirate hook. That thing came out clean, and it came out fast. And so towards the end of the Subaru repair, I realized that, wow, this stuff is moving. And, the one thing I always say about Stanliner tools is normally every tool you'll go to, you start it with tape. With Stanliner tools, I don't know what's going on with these tools, but it pushes like it has tape on it, but it doesn't. So
you actually had Stanliner tools already in your arsenal, and you kind of knew how to use them, but also actually kind of didn't so you don't know how to properly, I would say, use them.
Yes.
So sure. Stanliner decided to offer a training in Minnesota here, and you're like, all right, I got to go really check this out. The tool.
Yeah, bite the billet. Yeah, I mean, it was
Kaz and
1600. Yeah.
Kaz and Thomas decided to come out and actually show you how to properly use these.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting actually Kaz to even be there. Kaz to be there. I was actually just inspecting. I think S was trained by Kaz, I think a few years ago, and so I was expecting some of the younger guys to come out, and I know he's up in the age, so he may not want to travel, but he was there, and the star of the show, the man himself. But yeah, I immediately reached out to the people because I'm a procrastinator, so I quickly reached out to the people. I'm like, hey, it's about 4 weeks left. Is there any open slots? Yeah. Just go ahead and get your ticket. And I said, okay. All right. Actually, was so excited. I charged the card twice.
Yikes.
So I had to call him and be like, hey, can I get a refund? So, but yeah, I was very excited to go out, especially to see Don. Don has helped me out tremendously. Just overall, just nice guy. His words of encouragement to me have been, great. And to the industry is what it seems like. He connects with almost everybody in the industry. So to see Don Shop, you got Steven over there and you got Q over there. So it was just, was it Gray Duck Dent Repair?
John,
Dent
yeah.
Repair, John. So I'm like, wow, all these guys are in one place. I made the right decision because I didn't know. I just signed up. So once I knew,
Yeah, you didn't actually know who was going to be there. And
yeah,
yeah, when you go to MTE,
yeah,
it's one thing. And when you go to some of these smaller seminars, trainings, classes, meetups, media events, stuff like that, you don't really know who's going to be there. MTE, pretty much anyone who actually enjoys what we do and cares
yeah,
about PDR is going to be at Mobile Tech Expo. So you
yeah.
decided that, okay, well, I'm going to go to the Stanliner training. I really don't know who's going to be there, but I'm going to go for the sole purpose of really how to learn how to use these tools, just because they're so unique. And I had the pleasure of being able to try them a couple weeks ago when I was out by you. I completely understand the training necessary for these types of tools because they are so unique. It's a totally different method of pushing with these compared to, I think, just a standard direct push rod that you would get maybe from another company. So you get there, you show up, everyone's kind of in this room. What's kind of going on? What are they, what's the cadence of the whole training? I mean, is it just more literature? Is it really, really hands-on? Is it a mix of both?
So we get there and they shove you with these packets, and in the packet you get his glue pulling tab, and he and the glue, his special glue that hasn't even hit the States yet, and he gives you a nice little handbook and I think a sticker and some Stanliner kind of accessories and stuff like that. And kind of everybody, like, I'm looking around seeing who I know. you don't know
Looking
too
for a
many people.
familiar face, yeah.
Yeah. And excuse me, Harry from Flatiron Dent Repair. I don't want to butcher it, but Harry, I knew he was coming, so I kind of linked with him a little bit, and then just Thomas gets started. Like, I really love the fact that he started on time and he kept the routine. He was able to create audibles when need be, and that's when he saw guys kind of lingering around, and that's when he was like, it's time to teach the next technique. But he basically prefaced the entire thing by saying, I want you to come in here as an open mind. That's the only way you're going to learn. My dad's techniques are unique. They're different, but they definitely will benefit you if you give it a chance. And you're here today to learn this. So keep an open mind, and that's basically what it is. So everybody, I mean, it just seems like everybody's kind of like, like okay, let's go back to day one of training, because that's what it was, man.
There's no ego involved anymore, right? So it's like
No
everyone's
ego,
everyone's on an even playing field.
Yes,
Everyone
I
is
loved
there
it.
to
I loved it.
who doesn't, when you go to maybe Dent Olympics or maybe some of these other things, you have technicians, you have years, right? Just experience.
Right.
So there are going to be better than some. But here, no matter what year you were, or year of tech, if you're a brand new tech to a seasoned tech, everyone's still on the same playing field learning this new technique, which could probably be really fun because everyone's kind of in that same like back to square one, like learning experience.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was probably like a good motivator for everyone to kind of just come together. Like, hey, how you doing that? How did you, kind of when you first started training again?
Yeah. And so I want to back up a little bit before we got started on the training aspect of it. Bruce from, I think, Ding Busters. I always see his Instagram account, but I never really see him. So I didn't know, I didn't put a face to an Instagram IG account. But anyway, he was awarded a gold certified tech, and just the look on his face, you can tell it was a big deal. And like everybody, I think, was kind of like, wow, like this is a big deal. And just talking to one of the guys that went to train, it seems like he's only awarded 12 people this award. Maybe that's the 13th or maybe that's the 12th guy, but it seems like it was a big accomplishment. So shout outs to Bruce from Ding Busters. Congratulations. But you just saw that, wow, this is a big deal for this one gentleman. He spent a lot of time with these tools, a lot of techniques. He went all the way to get trained. And then you knew this was serious. You knew it was time to learn when you saw that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty amazing.
So you guys are going from just station to station, learning these new techniques. Um, were all the tools available there for you guys to use? I know they have
Yes.
kind of a unique
Yes.
selection. And I think, like you said earlier, that there were other tools that were available, but not actually for purchase. Um,
Yes.
but the
Yes.
ones that you were working with, they were the ones they are the ones that are available online.
Yes, most of the tools we're working on. I don't think there is one tool. I think there was one off that he kind of said, "Hey, try this out," because of just the way the angle was or whatever. But most of the tools, they call them, stock items. Most of the tools, stock items. And we went over a couple of main techniques in his arsenal, right? And it was dragging, samurai, rolling, glue pulling, and then needling, I think. But I kind of wrote it down just to taking notes, but I think it was just dragging, samurai, rolling, and glue pulling. S is on here, so maybe he can elaborate a little bit more about what needling is. I might be off on that one. So, but anyway, those are the techniques that we went to. So we went on, I think it's rolling first, then we went on dragging. I didn't really care for dragging too much, meaning I sucked at dragging. I was real good with rolling, but
Yeah.
I was horrible with the dragon technique, with his tools. And then samurai technique, I really understood that. But yeah, I can go into somewhat detail. I want to respectfully not share too much information about the class, but definitely want to kind of encourage people to go to just open your mind up to more techniques and stuff like that. So I know you got a bunch of questions for me, Dave. And if anybody in the
Yeah.
chat has questions, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been able to talk to you since you got back about the training, so it's just this is kind of nice for me as well. But what was some of the feedback from some of the other techs there? I know there's a lot of heavy hitters there. What
Yep.
was kind of just the overall, just the atmosphere? What was that like with everyone there? What was everyone really friendly? Was everyone kind of just getting down on themselves trying to learn this stuff? Was everyone like, this is,
Oh,
not for
super.
me? I mean, like, what was it like?
I mean, you nailed it, Dave. It was the ego was completely gone. It was left at the door. And we were just there to learn. Everybody sucked at what we were learning. So there was no one was better. So there was no need for ego.
Yeah,
We talked about, the tools, how many tools you have, how long you've been in. I mean, a guy would touch a tool and will, start practicing, and, it was hand on hand, one-on-one training, right? So a trainer will be right beside you, pretty much guiding your hands so you can get the movement right. Everybody had this opportunity. I mean, countless amount of times. I mean, you almost got tired. You had to go stop and get water and stuff. So anyway, and so with that, you couldn't see if anybody was skilled or not. Like you couldn't tell the experience based on what they were doing. So again, no one got it out right. Perfect. Rolling was something I've already was used to, so I felt real comfortable. I felt like, oh, okay, I'm doing it, and then that was a quick like, you're doing it wrong. Do it this way. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know. And then as soon as I got tweaked a little bit here, S actually used this tool to help me rolling. That was the first station I went to, and on a fender, and he was showing me how to kind of really roll this killer whale tail. So that was basically it. It was no ego. The entire room was ready to learn. I mean, Mike Toledo was there, and he was right beside me trying to figure this out. I mean, top guys. I mean, 20, 30-year techs was in there. I mean, Don was the same way, just right there trying to learn, and trying to organize this wonderful event with the help of, the Stanliner crew. So, yeah, the best training environment you could possibly be in. Like, hands down, I would have probably paid $1,000 more if I knew what was it about. Like, it was an amazing event. The networking, the actual training was great.
and so Dent Fixer asked how long it was. It was,
So it was a 2-day course, and then the next day was the EV certification, so you
and
can
that was
power down these EV classes. That
which
was
is
the
also
next day.
optional as
Yeah,
well, correct?
yeah. So yeah, it was optional. I think it was an additional like 650, and that's put on by Anson PDR with Vince. So Vince was the teacher, and you had to go through Anson to get your tickets for that one.
Nice.
So yeah,
And Tommy was asking, being new to the industry, would the Stanliner tool and technique be the way to go?
I would probably say yes. Um, I'm
If someone
really,
had
yeah,
zero experience, they knew nothing about
yes,
PDR.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're telling a guy that's been doing this for 14 years, has been pushing this way. I would say yes. Will it be the only technique that you need to learn? I would say no. The one thing about these tools is accessibility becomes key for a lot of these tools. And if you want to work on a ladder in and out, then the door rods and all that stuff will be the most beneficial. I'm not going outside just restocking a full of Stanliner tools, but I'm telling you one thing: if I can get access to this tool, that with this tool, it will be the tool that I take that done out and nothing else. I was talking to you, Dave, about it just earlier today, and I said the way they do it is different. Like everybody can take a dent out. Probably everybody watching can take a dent out, and be very proficient at it. But the way he is explaining it to you, you can tell it's just going to bring less fatigue over time on your body. And I think that's something that people overlook. I was saying that a lot of these tools were made back in the day. It's just literally get access, push. And what he decided was saying, get access, push as less as with less effort. So it's a different. So he's building the tools for longevity of your body. And so yes, I mean, this is. I don't know his age. I don't want to say, but I would. I don't want to throw him under the bus if he's not 70, but you know, I know a lot of dent guys, and after about 55, 60, they hurt. I mean, their body is aching. They do not want to push. But this
So these
man is
tools
doing,
allow for the tool to do more of the work rather than the
yes,
tech himself. So you're not using
yes,
your body that's actually pushing the tool. Your body's
yeah.
pushing, or the tool is doing the work rather than more of the tech himself, your body.
There's a video, right? It's insane. So the way this is curved, he puts it in the door and he rocks it like this. And then all of a sudden he's like this. And the whole tool is just steadily rocking at the same time. And all you have to do is just put your hand out, put your hand on it and keep rocking it. And it's just taking the creases. It's freaking crazy, man. It is absolutely crazy. But I mean, the passion that, Kaz has in his son and actually the whole crew, it brings like joy when you talk to them. But it's not the only tool you got to keep, man. Like it's just it is a stout technique. I love it because it's something, maybe because it's something new also. The industry is like, it's the same tool, maybe better handle, maybe a better kick. Okay, yeah, it adds a little, adds
A
a
lot of
decent amount of value.
redundancy within
Yeah,
PDR tools.
exactly. But this is something like completely off the wall. And I think when he thinks about it, it's like, what can I push? All day. Like, how can I push and not be fatigued at the end of the day? So he has this samurai effect, and it's basically like inner blending, I guess. And so he designed the samurai tool. I believe you can only get it if you go to his training, but it has like a counterweight to it, is what it seems like. I can feel something kind of shaking in it. And it's basically, I mean, you're just guiding, you're just bouncing like a basketball, man. And so it's, I'm sorry, I'm reading the comments, but it was a unique style. I think we have some questions here. I don't know. Planning more
Yeah, so
events.
someone just asking if anyone they were planning more events later on, if they mentioned anything about it.
Yeah. Now, if you're new, you definitely gotta get the basics of PDR. Yeah. So you gotta know what you're pushing for sure. It's a little bit more than just tool access and the way to use the tool. I mean, you gotta read light. You gotta do a lot of stuff. It's a little bit bigger than just tool access. It's more complex,
So there was just one thing you had to like take away and say like, hey, Chris, why should I go to the Stanliner training?
I don't want to make this entire like live show about like just how wonderful the Stanliner event, but
Right,
it
of
really was
course.
amazing. I just want to give a lot of insight about why you would go. But the one thing that I liked on this course, and it seems like they're gonna tailor it a little differently, was I was amazed that he was actually bringing out his technique with glue pulling, and without sharing too much, he put a glue tab on and we all got was able to have turns with trying to remove this glue tab. And it's not like he reapplied this glue tab, it's one glue tab. People were pulling it in funky different angles. So it had all the opportunity to come off this car or this panel at that particular time. And people were just lining up trying to take turns. And I mean, I did it. You'll see the video. I was fatigued as crap. And we're not talking about a little 2-pound, 3-pound hammer. I mean, this thing was like a 7, 8-pound slayer. And we were ripping the door skin off. It was crazy. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Let's say this is a special glue that they're coming out with.
So, of course, from their standpoint, it's no other glue on the market. I don't know because I haven't used it yet. Visually, it looks like the same glue that is out, Glexo or something like that. Not the cold glue, but the hot glue. It's like a regular glue. But he said it was industrial strength, German industrial strength glue. I think that terminology has been tossed around a lot, but we'll see. He showed us. He pulled the pack right out. The glue that he pretty much gave us, and he started to literally build his glue tab because he does a decent amount of prep work for his glue tab. And then he showed us, that took about 30 minutes. Then he showed us how that pulled. So you see, it's like S is trying to do it. I know you're playing around with your mic over there, Dave.
Yeah, it just keeps falling here. So that was 2 days of the whole Stanliner training, really how to learn how to use these tools. Like we said, they're super unique in the way that they're made. They're made with there's thought behind these tools on how to actually use them. There's passion behind these tools. And I know that they're super shiny, that they're super flashy, they're super unique looking. And someone said, would this be, something for a new technician who's trying to get into this industry? Would this be a good tool for them? Now, being a seasoned technician, trying to learn a new technique, how is that kind of, messing with you, the way you push? Do you have to kind of stop the bad habits of direct pushing and actually switch to their technique as you're using it?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, you got to force yourself to keep an open mind. I think that's just for anything, you always have to be in a constant state of, learning, or at least being a, kind of a sponge, be able to take in knowledge. So as long as you're doing that, a seasoned technician can kind of not figure it out. You got to have a little bit of direction. I think he has a lot of videos that explain certain things. I haven't watched them, so I kind of completely went in there blind. But there's a lot of skilled guys that will help you kind of with the technique and stuff like that. You kind of learn visually. But I will tell you, during the event, the seasoned techs were getting corrected on the same stuff that you will probably correct like a 2-week tech. Like your stance is wrong, your position of your hand is wrong, and I'm just like, golly, this is intense. But that's what's going to ultimately get you not just
the best results, but the best results with those tools. Yeah.
But he's like, put your finger here, rest your hand, don't hold it tight. Use this as your stability, and then just rock it. Kind of. And he said, with this, it doesn't allow that flow of the rock. It's just, those are things that you are trying to train a 1-week tech to do. Hand position, stance, where the only thing they didn't have to train was seeing the dent. Everything else is like.
And S is here in the chat. SES here. He is also a trainer for Stanliner. And he said that, in a way, the newer you are, the more advantage you have, which I completely agree. And that veterans have more muscle memory to overcome. So, that makes complete sense. I think as seasoned techs, we are kind of habitual. I know I am in the way I use my tools and what tools I grab for. I know if I were to have a couple of these in my arsenal, I'm going to have to kind of pause and take that step back real quick before I actually go to use these tools because they are so unique. I just one more question before I kind of want to ask a little bit about the EV training. So is this the one tool, like if I were to ask you, what's the one tool you would want? Is that the one right there that you're holding the one it would be if you had to pick one Stanliner tool. But I guess, I don't know if you can, because they kind of all
Yeah.
have their own different,
Yeah.
ways
So
to
there's
use
something
them.
called a
So
raised snake,
yeah,
rounded. I like that tool. I just started to play around. Actually, S actually coached me through the sharper version. I was struggling with it when on my own. And I do have the sharper version, but now he told me exactly how to use that tool. So the raised snake, both versions, the rounded and the sharp one, is pretty good. The pirate hook, and then obviously the killer whale. Those are the tools that I would get. If you want something a little cheaper, they make I think a door tool or a crane tool, but it's a mini. Obviously, it won't work for all circumstances, but when you do get that mini in there, go from like maybe a what is it, like a DentKraft or a Blim, kind of like brace tool, and then switch to the Stanliner tool. That will kind of show you the difference, or at least let you experience the difference. But if you get I think if you get a pirate hook and you really don't know what to do, you're gonna get a little frustrated with it, I think. So some of the most basic tools, just to show you how well it pushes and how it doesn't create highs when it pushes, or high spots, then that would help. That would help out. So raised snakes are probably the first tools. You know what? S could probably speak on this. Honestly, we're trying to bring him into the show. Maybe we'll have him on a little later this year. But S could probably speak on what the best tools, because S has like me. He has some Stanliner and he has some regular tools. And since he was trained by Stanliner, I believe he was actually trained by Marty too. But S can explain. He was trained by multiple people.
nice.
So
So you went to the 2-day Stanliner training, and then there was a third day as well for EV training, correct?
yeah. So
And so I don't know if the listeners here know EV training. It's going to be actually becoming more prevalent in what we do. I know that. So kind of listen up for the
yeah,
importance of this training. I know that you were kind of telling me a little bit earlier today. I'm like, oh wow, like this is
yeah,
actually something that is going to be either required, and if it's not required, you better really understand the importance of this type of training here,
yeah.
this EV training.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about the EV. Really, like I said, really what you said, because some of the things that I mentioned. But again, Anson put on this training, administrated by Vince from Anson PDR, and obviously he was at Don Space, so we didn't have to go anywhere. But it's basic knowledge of how to power down a hybrid vehicle. I went in there with the expectations is, I want to gather the information. There's one way that
EV being an electric vehicle, correct?
yeah, so electric vehicle. So that even includes the hybrids. It's
So
not just the
Teslas,
Tesla, Priuses.
hybrids.
Yeah, all of them. Yeah. And so even the cars that stop and start are considered a hybrid. I forget there's like a micro hybrid they call it. So it only has something in it for the stop and start feature as you brake and slow down. But I went in there just to get the cert. I do a lot of Teslas. I had, a customer asked me, "Hey, do you know how to power down my car?" And I'm like, "Well, for this repair, I don't think I need to power down. Your power wire doesn't go in this direction." But I wish I would have told him, "Yes, I do." But this, that, and the third. I had to kind of, you know, allude to the fact that no, but I
Yeah,
can,
you're kind of running
I have
with
to
it
deal with
right
it.
there at
Yeah.
that point.
so,
Yeah.
but anyway, Vince goes off and talks about the danger. Everything has a danger. So I was kind of not really paying attention to it. But it was one video that he showed, and he was talking about the AC and DC, and obviously DC is direct current, AC is alternating current, I believe, Anyway, but he was saying which is pulses. And so with the hybrid cars, there's actually a 200-volt battery in whatever location the batteries are. And obviously that varies per size, for what the size of the vehicle is and stuff like that, the power that it needs to output. But anyway, if you touch that, you're dead. You're toast. You don't get the chance to. You think maybe you'll be able to get pulled off of it, and that's not the case. Since we're like 90% water, you literally just stand there and cook. It actually shocks your nervous system, and you literally just tighten up. You cannot move at all. So you just sit there and just cook. So I was like, okay, that's pretty bad. Because, I've been zapped by like 110 in the house. Yeah. I've been zapped by 110. It gives you, woo, I'm not touching that anymore. But you can still pull yourself off and do that because it's constantly fluctuating. The current is going up and down.
It's alternating,
on the DV, it's alternating on the
DC,
on the direct current, direct voltage. That's it. Direct current, that's it. It's steady. It doesn't give you that option to pull off. And so I'm like, yo, this is good.
So when you're sticking metal tools into an area that has direct current, and you clip a wire, clip a box, clip something in there with this tool, there is the possibility that you could really hurt yourself / I guess die. Like death is the other.
It was serious dead, yo. So I'm like, okay, gotta watch out for that. And what really scared me was and I want to share this with you guys. It's the Kia. Oh, I think like the Sorento, not Sorento. The what is the Kia? Like the sedan version. I forget. Optima, maybe.
Well, that'd be Hyundai. You got Hyundai Santa Fe or something like that.
Now this is a Kia. It was the hybrid version of whatever their kind of mid-size
Sorento.
sedan.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, one of them too. And anyway, so this is Vince's video. So, kudos to Vince for sharing me. This woke me up. Like, this is a part of the class where I was like, okay, I need to take this serious because this is crazy. So there's a fender dent. I posted Dave just right on the body line, kind of right where the fender and bumper meet, just that, body line, kind of accent line, and it's smashed. Well, Vince shows he said he particularly goes in there with his little poke tool, and he's like, I'm not getting on this dent. So he pulls the cover down, and there's a orange wire, which is high voltage in this area, in the States, and it's an orange wire running alongside of the fender. And I'm just like, whoa. You know how many times I just go in there and just He-Man with a pick tool or something like that? It could have been a sharp dent that you go in there with a pick tool. And I'm like, yo, we would have been cooked. Like, no lie, it would have been done. And so I said, God. So, obviously he powered down.
Jamming a flat bar in there.
So I just said, man. And then, I said, okay, how durable is these cables? Because obviously they're putting it in there. There's no way these cables can be like, they got to be encoded in like steel beams. No, it's literally just like a plastic. If you go in there pretty aggressive, maybe not with this tool, but if you go in there pretty aggressive with a pick tool or something sharp, you will get past that protective layer. And that is it. Metal with your hand, with a tool, you're going to be ashes. So, I don't know which Kia. I think it's Optima. But anyway, be mindful of these hybrid cars, guys. I do not want anybody on the news, especially a PDR guy, that just flat out just didn't know. So I thought we spent a little bit of time. Yeah, it was a hybrid. It was the driver's side. They have a charging point on the back side of the fender, where you charge the car up, and then obviously the fender. I mean, this is a typical dent. I think Dave was down here. He did one on a Mazda. This is standard. People see this on a lot all the time. Yeah. So, and the video, I believe he said it was on PDR Tool Time Vince. So if you reach out to him, I'll probably send you the video. It's his personal video. I actually caught him off guard, and he's an instructor, but he just wasn't aware of it. I want to leave you guys with, we're not packing it up yet, but hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, when you told me that story, that definitely opened up my eyes to the importance of this training. I do work on a lot of high-end vehicles, Tesla's being the main one, but and there's always challenges. Like I've dealt with Rolls Royces that just have huge, windshield wiper reservoirs in the fenders and stuff like that. But actual high voltage running through a panel is completely different than anything else that you could possibly either touch or break or something like that. And so for me, when you did, like I said, when you told me about this, I was like, oh, wow, this is actually something that's really, really important and that we need to stress to everyone else, just because not that hybrids are becoming more prevalent, but there is that chance. I mean, if I was walking a lot and one of the cars on there happened to be a hybrid, I'm not going to think twice Before, I probably wouldn't even think twice just to shove a tool into whatever part of that car that I need to, like you said.
Right.
And if you have high voltage running through a fender, that's something that where, yeah, I probably would have stuck a tool in there and it would have been no problem. And next thing you know, I'm just cooking right there on the lot.
Exactly. And there's, he didn't show the video because it's too graphic, but he said, there's been times if people haven't, people try to take a 2x4 to break their arm, to pull them away. It's done. They can't even break you off away from this stuff. Anson sells a plastic hook that seems to do well, I guess. But I mean, you're cooked. You're done.
Yeah, and so Straight Lines. So Straight Lines had asked, "Can you just wear rubber gloves?" And Q and Excel were able to kind of reply here and said, "Rubber gloves aren't just going to do it. You need either special gloves that are rated to a certain voltage. I think they're saying 1,000 volt rubber gloves, which I know I don't carry, and so." I mean, but still, I think powering down, learning how to really power down these vehicles in the proper way is the way to do it. I mean, not trying to get around, not cutting quarters.
Yeah, I was trying to share an app with you guys. I'll try to put it in like the show notes for anybody's listening to it. But this app actually shares it. I mean, Matt may talk about it, and hopefully Q may have it. And I know Excel has it. But there's an app that you pay $2.99 and it tells you where, at least up to the 2018, where all the wires are ran, where the battery is located, and I think it shows the proper procedure, or at least the manufacturer procedures of like where the pin is that you need to pull out to power down the vehicle. So yeah, it is important to go to that class. I don't want to, I'm sharing this information because I value you guys' safety. Again, I don't want anybody to be on here and on Dent Tech's only page, and we're over here, doing a GoFundMe account for you because you didn't want to, unplug the EV card. That would be disappointing. So I'm doing my my share to give back to you guys and add value by saying please download that app. Hopefully, Steve, Excel Dent Repair has the link. The name of that app, but it's like $2.99. Well worth it if you work on any hybrid vehicles, for you. So yeah, you can yank the pin, yank the pin. Yeah, but yeah, it's like a little, I guess, fuse, I guess they call it or whatever. But yeah, so that was the EV course. So I'm now, at least that's what Vince told me. I haven't got any paperwork, but I'm now.
How long was it? Was it a full day?
No, we were done at about 2:00. The class was we were very focused. I mean, I think I'm telling you, most of the guys are from Stanliner. We were already coming from a very focused class. I mean, it was a no nonsense type class, but we were very focused in the EV. I don't know the gentleman's name, but we had a little study group and helped me out a lot to get through the test. So
nice.
Yeah, first time ever doing like a study group.
Nice.
I thought that was fun.
A real quick, Frogman here is asking, so what's the difference between the PDR finesse tool, which is the 226 he's talking about specifically, and then versus Stanliner door tool? So the 226 kind of has that soft bend with the sharp tip, and I think they have a left and a right on those.
Yeah.
And then versus Stanliner door tool.
To be perfectly honest, I'm probably the wrong man to ask for that because I don't know how to use the door tools from Stanliner. I tried to use it as a regular door tool, and I'm falling short when it comes to that. There is some incidents where that door tool, like the hooking action, does work very well, but I'm not using it like a door tool. So I almost consider it two different tools. Again, Ash would be able to tell you way more than me on that.
And he was able to kind of cut.
Yeah. But I know the guy, there was a guy that told me about that. He has a set and he said he rarely uses it. So I don't know if the PDR finesse, and I don't know why. Every tech is different. Dave comes over, does the exact same repair and has completely different tools than me. So, I mean, we're all going for the job. When we work with each other, we're probably all figuring out like, maybe that's speeding him up. Maybe that's not. Maybe that's something, So we're getting little snippets, but Dave has a bunch of CarePoint, a bunch of Drew's tools. I have none. I have no Drew's tools, and I have one CarePoint tool. So I guess there's many ways that you can skin a cat. But yeah. I then now I think S is talking about, they have a door tool, which is a right and left, that he showed us. It literally looks like, a hook. It's a hook tool. It's like a standard hook tool, but it has a roll on one side instead of like the
Okay.
straight. So yeah, there were only 4 pairs. And those I didn't win the option to buy those 4 pairs, so I don't have anything to show you. But yeah, he does have them, and I've been trying to kind of persuade him to keep, because his tool in the similar fashion of a standard tool. That makes
Nice.
sense. I can really compare the metal and stuff like that, because it's hard. I mean, how are you comparing this tool to what?
You're not.
You know?
And that's, and that's kind of what I wanted to kind of go over with this whole show today, because I know that these tools are super unique, and that special training kind of, I don't want to say is required, but it's definitely super helpful on how to actually use these tools in the proper way that they were meant to be used by the creators. They have their way of using these tools in their head, and they use them, I think, daily. And so now they're offering that to everyone else. And, it's us as seasoned techs, like you said, to kind of open your mind when you get to that training and really learn how these are used, because they can make your repairs cleaner, faster. It's only going to make you more money in the long run if you're able to really learn how to hone in and properly use these Stanliner tools.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one of the reasons why I'm such a decent tech, I'm not the best tech, but such a decent tech, is because I open my mind. I literally go in there and be like, okay, I'm going to get leverage, execute that first. Obviously, RNIs and all that stuff, and then try to fit, what I think, the biggest tool in there, or what I think is fair. I don't know until I got to see how metal moves, but if you keep an open mind, you almost can't lose. I think you would definitely learn something in every job that you do. So, and then with tools, I think I shared this story, I think about 4 or 5 years ago. I just was stuck in my tools. Nah, I don't need the tool. I'm taking out dents. What's the point of this tool? And I had a dent. It was an older, like an 01 Tahoe, right there where the rear bumper, that little, when you take the taillight, you have good access, but you have no tool to actually get leverage. Some people put a 2x4 and all that stuff in there so you can gain access. You know what I'm talking about? Like the corner.
Yep.
So, I got frustrated. I did one and I was like, you know what? Screw this. I think Sal posted a picture of how he did one. He was like done in 45. And I just spent 3.5 hours on it and was fighting. And my whole side was just hurting. And I said, I'm done. I'm going to buy that tool just for that repair. And didn't touch it. Literally, tool sitting there for 8 months. Finally get the exact same repair, the exact same job. And I said, I got the right tool, boy. I'm about to nail it. And lie to you not, 45 minutes, I was done. And so I started thinking, I started watching Sal and figure out how I can incorporate this tool in more and more repairs. I still love my Dental, but I think the Stanliner Tools currently stole my heart on certain repairs. I mean, they don't fit
Of course.
They don't fit everywhere, right? So,
of course,
to give you guys the content, I probably use the Stanliner Tools about 20% of my jobs, just to be, real with you guys. But it's, it's a new tool, so I'm happy when I use it. I'm excited when I use it. But it's literally only currently right now about 20% of what I use.
And like you said in the beginning of the show, you're still learning it, how to use them properly. So obviously that's probably, taking away from how much they're actually used. When you get a vehicle in or a customer drops their car off, you're, as a business owner, as a technician, your main focus is like, all right, let me get this done. Not let me learn a new technique right here on the spot. So I think, that probably has something to do with it. But, there's definitely going to be times where I know I'm going to be playing around with these tools. And I'm like, man, I'm thankful that, that these are available, that we have these, because they're so unique, and they're probably going to get the job done, like I said, faster, cleaner than maybe some of the other tools. So, but we just wanted to kind of recap over this Stanliner training
and I want to be very
how that
clear.
went for you.
don't go run out and spend $2,000 on Stanliner Tools. I'm pretty sure he would be grateful about that. But just talking with Thomas and talking with his dad, I mean, he really doesn't want his tools to just sit on the ground and not do anything. He wants you to use his tools. So hopefully he's okay with me saying, but just don't go run and spend $2,000 on Stanliner Tools without really saying that you're gonna kind of keep an open mind and really
And
learn
learn
how to use
the
his tools.
technique.
And it also comes down to if you're just a lot guy, these tools may not be as beneficial because it does take a lot of R&Is. You have to have a lot of access, but if you're doing already big repairs and it's a 2-day repair, 1-day repair, you're going to take a lot of stuff apart. Then you may want to invest in a set of Stanliner tools. Again, the raised snake is almost like a double bend, so it's multi. It has a multi-use, so you can use it with hail and stuff like that. So you'll never like not use that tool. So that's why I recommend the raised snakes for the beginner guys to try to get used to that.
The
I do
way it
recommend,
pushes, how it pushes, and the way
yeah,
that tip kind of pushes behind that metal.
yeah, yep. And so I wouldn't. This would be your first tool, but because I love how to do fenders, and I get more opportunity to work on a fender without R&Ing much, that's why this is my learning tools. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
it does.
But yeah, raised snake is literally the close second, or right alongside of this one. So
Nice.
yep.
Well, guys, there you have it. That is the Stanliner Training Seminar recap with
So
Chris.
Lee just came in.
Yes, he did. And so for you guys, I don't know if there are going to be any more later this year. That is probably TBD. I'm sure it'll be all on social media when and if there is going to be another one. We did stress the importance of the electrical vehicle training. I know, Chris, after our conversation, that it will now be at the top of my list to go ahead and get that done. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in. We also want to thank our sponsors, Mobile Tech RX, Blem Tool Company, and DentKraft Tools for sponsoring the show and allowing us to go ahead and deliver this content to you guys. And I just want real quick one more thing. Chris, I see 2 books on there. Do you want to just kind of chime in on what those 2 are right there? Just real quick. You don't have to go into detail. Just kind of, I know we go back and forth sometimes on what we're reading, so I just want to see what you have there.
Yeah, I really think this is a great book, guys. I'm enjoying this read. I'm on 3 chapters in, and it's John Maxwell Leader Shift. I don't know if it's reversed. It looks reversed on my end.
It shows. Yeah.
I am in love with this book right now. So if you guys read it before me, but I'm doing a chapter a day, but it's a good book. And this is a book that I got. I don't know if you guys into like raps or anything like that, but Nipsey Hussle, this is one of his favorite books, and it's The Way of the Superior Man. And it's just mastering challenges of work and your spiritual mastery. So I don't know, maybe boring to some, but if you're into books or if you're into like podcasts and stuff, John Maxwell is like the staple of leadership and all that stuff. I think leadership and like marketing and mentoring. So I can't grow unless I can mentor guys better and help guys in a better sense. And I can't help guys unless my mind is right. And so this is kind of a refreshing kind of book to help me grow so that I can continue to keep adding value. That's what it's all about, Dave, is adding value to the community. And I think we try to express that as much as we possibly can. We're not in the in crowd. We don't try to create drama or any of that stuff. We literally get on here and me and Dave talk about, and Dave, you could probably answer this, but I call you every day and I say, how can we add more value, Dave? And he said, chill. It's okay.
Well, there's only 24 hours in the day. So.
But we always constantly want to add value to the industry because we feel like it's something that, we both are passionate in about. And we want to see it take off as the next, hit or just be noticed in the mainstream. So I encourage you guys to jump on videos, call me. Email's not best because I don't really answer emails, but
Instagram
Instagram
DM
message
is
me,
probably, I know
DM me.
that's for sure.
Yeah, but I'm trying my best to give you guys all of me at any given time. So hopefully you guys enjoy the content that we put out. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, guys. As this transition period, the shows are only going to get better, guys. You could probably see as the camera angles are moving around, it's going to get real good in a few weeks, guys. Don't forget, we have a podcast. It's not only on iTunes, guys. It's on Stitcher, I believe, and it's on Google Play. The podcast has some unique stuff, guys. It has PDR Unscripted is what we're calling it. And it's just literally me and Dave talking about a topic. No BS. Just we get down and dirty on the topic. At least me, I can only speak for myself, but I absolutely enjoy these PDR Unscripted.
I do as well. They're short, they're sweet to the point. They're kind of just give our perspective about PDR and the way, either the state of the industry, how we fix stuff, what we think about certain things, business, tools, this, that. So yeah, I really enjoy it as well.
Yeah, that was a nice video. So jump on our podcast, PDR Workshop podcast. It's broken down a PDR and then workshop and then podcast.
Jonathan wants another ride along video, Chris. So
when Dave gets here, he's gonna be the cameraman for one day. I guess he won't be pushing. So we'll pick a day when Dave's like a little lazy, or we'll switch it. Dave, I'll ride with you because I'm always a little lazy.
That'll work.
So, all right, guys. See you on the next show. Dave, you want to do the outro with the sponsors, please? Thanking them.
Yeah, once again, thank you guys. Dave from the PDR Workshop here, Chris with Dentless Touch here. We want to thank our sponsors, Blend Tool Company, Mobile Tech RX, and DentKraft Tools. So if you guys want to help support us, support them. And that's it, man. Thank you guys.
All right, guys. See you next Monday. Peace.